Maybe we top deck lethal. Is it the Flurry? Champion skins might be the best thing that has happened in the game in quite some time, simply because they made me revisit champions I had not played in a while, and I'm having a blast playing Zed lately. So for today's video, we're going to be taking a spin on a list that has Zed and Sivir. This list is heavily inspired by Manitas. He posted his version on Twitter. I liked it. I made a couple of changes to fit my own playstyle, but credit goes to him for inspiring me to take this for a spin. So we're going to go through the list in just a moment here. Deck code will be in the video description. Link to Mobalytics will be in the video description. As always, if you want to just jump to the games, you can use time tags. And just before we dive in, a couple of other things I want to cover. First and foremost, I'm sorry I didn't post anything over the weekend. My oldest son had a birthday and everything was kind of hectic with family stuff. Today, this video, you may have noticed it's being published a little bit later than I normally publish videos. And it's because this week I'm in like a conference for my day job. And so I'm doing the best I can. I want to keep the content coming. I'm having a lot of fun playing Legends of Runeterra still, but things have been a little bit crazy, as evident by, it's actually not too bad. I thought it was going to be worse, but I'm wearing a green shirt. I normally avoid green when I know I'm recording because of the green screen. It makes me look like a floating head, but this is not too bad. But I'm done with work. I'm diving right in. I want to get the recording done. So, okay, enough about me. Let's talk about the list. Right out of the gate, we have aggressive one drops. This is the kind of deck where we play things in attack. So Bloodthirsty Marauder and Dune Keeper, kind of the best of the bunch between the two regions as far as just being aggressive. So we run them. A 2 of on Scrying Sands. I like to call this Pocket Sand. This is nice because it's cheap. It's got the nice predict effect and it can help you in terms of combat. Then once we get to 2, we've got Aspiring Chronomancer. If you know me, you know I'm a big fan of this card whenever I'm playing Shurima anyway, because I like the stats and I like the predict. We're also rocking Rockhopper. I will admit, I am not a big Rockhopper fan in the current meta, especially with so much Azir, Irelia, and Nasus Thresh, because most of the time, the stuff that the Roiling Sands hits ends up being not very relevant. However, in this particular instance, there's just not many other options to really run in the 2 slot. I mean, really, when you look at your 2 drops, you could maybe run Duo, but we're not getting the same kind of benefit. The argument here is that at least it's elusive, but you lose out on 1 attack power. Maybe you could run this. Outside of that, everything else is kind of highly synergistic, and we're just not running those decks. So for now, it's Chronomancer and Rockhopper. I might experiment with Duo. I might experiment with something even like Young Witch, just because the quick attack tends to become a bit more relevant later on, and it's a bit more relevant because we're also running Flurry of Fists, spoiler alert. So maybe I will want to test this, but for now, Chronomancer, Rockhopper. Running 2 Nopify. It's actually a great meta for Nopify right now. So many cheap spells running around. Ruthless Predator. I really like this card. You could run Exhaust instead if you really wanted, but I like this one right now because the +2/+0 and the vulnerable actually means this can either help you push for lethal with that +2/+0 on an open attacker, or if you're really trying to trade with something pesky like Azir, yes, we're running cards like Sand Spinner later on, or even if you've got a Sivir or a Ruin Runner, that's enough with the vulnerable. But for some of these other options, you know, we were talking about this Rockhopper, for example, that 1 extra attack starts to matter in situations like this where you can use a Ruthless Predator to make this a 5/1 and then crash this into an unleveled Azir. And so I really like running this as the combat trick. Syncopation, this is a bit of my own spice. I'm just a big fan of the card because it can save some of your units from targeted removal. It can obviously help out in terms of leveling Zed, and I'm just a big fan of it, so I'm running this. It also maybe helps with trying to find lethal in terms of Flurry of Fists. So we're running 3 of these. This is entirely intended for Sivir and Zed. Sivir is like the big winner, especially if she's leveled, because you can drop a Flurry on a leveled Sivir, and then suddenly your entire team has double attack. Turns out that's pretty good. So Flurry of Fists is here. Merciless Hunter. Card is overtuned. Card is busted. Twin Disciplines. Manitas, I think, had 1 in his list, but after playing around with it, I actually kind of liked it. I like the versatility because the +3/+0 can be great at pushing lethal, and with your quick attack units, it can also mean some really great trades, and the +0/+3 can also save your units from targeted removal and other effects. So I'm actually enjoying the versatility. I upped that to 2. Zed, we're running Zed. Yes, we're running the skinned version of Zed, but again, this is just an aggressive play. It has quick attack. Maybe it works with Flurry. Now, Flurry is not as good on Zed as it is Sivir, not only because she's just got more attack, not only because she can potentially grant it to your whole team, but Flurry's also not as good on Zed, because even once you level up Zed, one thing you need to know is that, yes, the Living Shadow will get stats and keywords, but the double attack does not matter on an ephemeral unit, because the minute they strike, they die. So you never get double attack to work on ephemeral units. So just keep that in mind if you're trying to plan your lethal around that. Next up, we have Bakai Sand Spinner. Just a big fan of this card overall. Sivir as, you know, the other portion of Zed here as far as champions. And then Ruin Runner, this card, much like Merciless Hunter, is just really good. It's I'm not going to say completely overtuned, but it's close. It's not quite Merciless Hunter, but it's like a reason to run Shurima. And so in an aggressive or at least proactive deck like this, where you're playing things and attacking, you want to run Ruin Runner. So this is the list, and with that out of the way, with us having went through the deck, let's go play some games on it. All right, this actually is a bit of a scary matchup. I see Teemo, I see Noxus and Piltover and Zon, so I just naturally assume that this is going to be burn. We're gonna keep the Zed because we're attacking on odds. That's an aggressive turn 3 play. Pocket Sand here maybe buys us some time. Dunekeeper's actually great in terms of top decks. We've got the 1, 2, 3 here. I don't expect them to block because this has Fearsome and they're trying to do their thing. Now the good news is, if they, I was gonna say don't take the open attack, we can at least block one of these pets. Teemo will get through, but this can eat Teemo next round, potentially. And then that will kind of put them in a predicament as far as blocking the Zed. Now we could have issues with, of course we hit a Puff Cap right out of the gate. We could have issues with Mystic Shot or Get Excited. And that's exactly what's going to happen, which is unfortunate. It's because I jinxed it, but I think you still have to play Zed there. You have to force them to use those types of things on your units. Having both syncopations here is less than ideal, to say the least. And they are still playing units. Now the positive is, all right, we'll grab another Zed here. Hunter actually might have been better because of the vulnerable, but positive here is we have a blocker for that. We have a blocker for that. We could even use this Scrying Sands to either take less damage or save this for a value trade. This right now is going down to 9. We're gonna skip that because we would still like to draw the Zed. And that is problematic. I was expecting a Zed there. I thought that if you played a second one and skipped it, it kept your choice, but I guess I was wrong.
Death doesn't scare me.
So I guess we'll do this just to push a little bit more damage. as we try to navigate this matchup. That's just my misunderstanding. There's the Zed. Apparently it stacks them. So the skipped one just went on top of the Zed is the way that I'm choosing to imagine that that's how this went in my mind. So this takes us down to 6. They have 2 cards in hand. Could have fervors and the like here. Yep, so there's a fervor. It's gonna get us down to 3, at which point we end up dead to get excited. Or if they've got another fervor, I think they would have played it here. The downside is we... Oh, they have a mystic shot. I was about to say we don't have lethal, but since they're using that here, we can actually save our Zed and maybe we top deck lethal. Maybe we top deck lethal. Is it the flurry? We get there. Oh, and we get the sweet level up animation. I was not feeling confident about the way this game was going, gang. Just full disclosure. But we did it. So there's one victory. Let's go play another game, because that was fun. All right. The test. Can we get a victory? Can we get a victory against Azir Irelia? We got some 1-drops. We got the Hunter on 3 with the Predator. Depending on how the board state develops, there's actually an argument to be made about banking spell mana for this Predator, but we're gonna play our own defensive Dunekeeper. This is why I said depending on how it develops. So in this case, we'll just go ahead and do this. And we'll drop the Hunter. Deus is great for them, not so great for us, but we should still be pushing 7 damage here while freeing up some of the board space. This next round, unless we top deck something amazing, we should be banking at least some spell mana to go into Ruin Runner. Now they could have the buff here, but if they want to use it just to get this trade, I think we're ultimately fine with that. Like this is the dilemma that you have. We could use Syncopation to actually save this, and then we could just bank the other 2 for here and still develop Ruin Runner for running this over. And I think that's ultimately what we want to do. Bit of a shame just because they kind of come out ahead in terms of like mana tempo there, but
chase what you want without mercy. The Emperor's favor upon you.
all right, so now we get to see exactly why I like the Ruthless Predator. As long as they don't have another of the buffs, this works out really well for us because we get this pull. And we would much rather prefer to trade with the Hunter than the Ruin Runner. Now, again, they could have a second Shaped Stone. That would be really bad for us. But thankfully they don't. We get to push some damage with the Ruin Runner. With the Twin Disciplines and Overwhelm, we actually might have a shot at pushing lethal there. So they're going to go this route because they want potentially 2 Blade Dances pre-attack. We'll go ahead and play Chronomancer. Interesting. Sivir is a solid pickup because it'll absolutely be leveled, but I don't think if we make it to the next round we're going to do anything other than open attack, so I think we're going to go with the spell. So they return in Azir. Azir is going to level. And then they're going to go with the blade. Now they don't have any mana, so we don't have to worry about tricks or anything like that. We can just comfortably do this. And again, we know what we're drawing. We want the insurance that Ruin Runner can push as much damage as possible as far as like the overwhelm goes. And so what we're actually gonna do is we're gonna block here, and we're gonna block to get that down to 1, because that actually helps us in terms of Ruin Runner pushing for lethal with the disciplines. So we're gonna go ahead and do this, and then just go into the open attack. Because we have the spell shield, we should be fine with this attack. And so we go straight into the open, and we will give ourselves the old +3/+0. And now if they bounce that, the overwhelm still gets it done. Overwhelm is still threatening here as well. They would have to buff the health here. This should be success. Azir can't block this because of Fearsome. And then again, with the recall, we're still gonna find our way home because of the overwhelm, and that's it. That's a satisfying one to end on. So if you made it this far, I appreciate you. We're just gonna edit out the cough that I just did, and we're gonna again say that's a fun one to end on. Thank you for watching. If you made it this far, I appreciate you as always. And until next time, may you walk on warm sands.